European Investment Fund. I'm very happy to welcome you to this webinar today that is dedicated to the official launch of our Early Career Program. Before we kick off, I would just like to let you know that this webinar will be recorded apart from the last part, which is the Q&A session.
Hi everyone, warm welcome also from my side. My name is Marijana. Just like Anna, I'm also part of the EIF's recruitment team here at the European Investment Fund. Very happy to be with you today to tell you about our new early career program. And before we start, just a few words about what you can expect from this webinar today. So our Chief Executive Marjut Falkstedt will kick off the webinar with a brief introduction. After that, we're going to have a conversation with Miguel, our guest here today. After this, Anna and I will tell you some more details about the program, and in the end, we'll leave some time for your questions. But first things first, Marjut, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. I am indeed Marjut. I am from Finland, and when I studied my career, or when I studied 40 years ago, I would never have expected that I would end up here in Luxembourg in the European Investment Fund. I had totally different plans, and I suppose many of you have many different plans. That's why I will explain I will talk a bit about European Union, and then I will talk a bit about the European Investment Fund. You know, European Union might be something very abstract for you, and its institutions may be very abstract to you. But let me use one example, which can be close to your heart, which is about education and studying. You know, there's a European Union policy on education where the policy tries to make the education in different member states more inclusive and more aligned. And there are certain targets that the member states should be achieving. And when the European Commission makes proposals like budget-based proposals like the Erasmus program, then this program is approved and the budget of it is approved by the European Parliament and by the European Council. And what is then our role, the European Investment Fund? Well, we are not a body which is managing grants or subsidies. We are a European Union body, which is a financial arm of the European Union. We are providing financing to SMEs. And not only that, we are also providing financing to students through student loans in certain countries, for example. So when you think about the European Union, the European Commission making a proposal for a policy action like Erasmus program, then you have the Parliament and Council approving this proposal. It's implemented by an agency of the European Union. And then in the end, we, EIF, we can complement this action through the financing that we have available for students. But to be honest, this is only a very small part of our business. The biggest part of the business, what we do, we are providing venture capital financing and we are providing guarantees to banks. This is, in very simple terms, what we do. Now, why would you come to work for us? Well, European Investment Fund has 700 people from all over the world. For example, me from Finland, Anna is from
France, Croatia,
Portugal. You see, and here we are sitting together and working towards a common goal. And this is exactly what is interesting in the EIF. You can work in different areas from legal, from risk management, compliance management, HR, communication, or become operational in the operational teams. And what you see here is how the European Union can bring value and how we in the European Investment Fund, we can provide impact through the financing what we do. You know, there are something like 24 million SMEs in the European Union, and there are several millions in our portfolio who we have been able to support, either, for example, through programs, guarantee programs, which help them to provide less collateral to the bank, or have a longer maturity, or even have better interest rates. So what we are doing, we do the good. We are trying to help them and facilitate the life of the small and medium-sized enterprises in the European Union and also abroad from time to time. Like Ukraine, you will hear soon from Ukraine what the EIF is doing there. And the last word, Luxembourg is really great place to live. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marjut, for the introduction. Good. Let's now move to the second part of our webinar. For this purpose, we have invited Miguel to join us today, as we thought it would be super interesting for you to hear about his experience as he joined the EIF several years ago through a similar initiative as the ECP. Mari, do you want to kick it off with the first question?
Yes, indeed. So, Miguel, please tell us a bit about your path at EIF. How did it all start, and where are you now?
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. I was studying economics. I did my bachelor and my master in economics, and actually finance was not the main theme of my studies. But I really wanted to contribute to the European project and to work for the European Union. I started looking at internships in several European institutions and got this amazing opportunity that was slightly outside the scope of my studies because it combined finance with data. The internship that I applied to at the beginning was on data analytics, and the project was quite interesting. It was to gather all the data about the European SMEs and startups that EIF was sponsoring at the time, through its venture capital funds mostly, and to identify them in public databases in order to attract information and to combine the information that we had in our systems with public available information. For what? To measure the impact that we wanted to have, and we were already having, but to measure this in the real ecosystems. I was supposed to stay only for a couple of months. The internship was 5 months long, and I thought I would be soon back home and to continue my career. Actually, reality proved me completely wrong. I stayed here for 10 years and I'm quite excited. The opportunity that appeared after was to join, as you mentioned, a graduate program that existed at the time, similar to this one, and to work at the time at reporting. It was to prepare the investor reports for fund of funds, that were investment programs, basically, operating in the venture capital markets, but more focused on national programs alongside investors and the governments. So I had this chance. I stayed learned a lot about private equity, venture capital concepts that my studies were not providing this level of information. Later on, there was this chance to apply to another position at the fundraising team. The fundraising team is the one that is in contact with investors, most of them governments and development banks in each one of the member states, to convince them that EIF has something to offer and to help them building their own venture capital and private equity ecosystems. And I stayed there for a few years until now, mostly focused on Iberia, and managed to contribute to this greater impact that EIF is delivering.
Great. Thanks a lot for sharing, Miguel. By the way, guys, if you do have any questions for Miguel, keep in mind that we have the Q&A session at the end of the presentation for exactly that purpose. So Miguel, we hear a lot about working for a purpose here at EIF. Can you share with us, in your personal experience, what does it mean for you to work for a purpose at EIF?
We have to keep in mind that our main shareholder is the European Union. EIF is a financial institution. We are, in the end, an asset manager of the European Union, but we don't work like a typical asset manager. Normally, you would expect the board to be solely and only concerned about our financial returns. This is not the only concern of our shareholders. We are aiming at generating impact, real impact, in several areas that are priorities, policy areas for the European Union, namely innovation, competitiveness, social diversity, climate action, obviously, and also cohesion, so that we can make an impact not only in the strongest countries and the strongest economies, but a bit all over Europe. And there are not so many institutions that combine this private side, the opportunity to work in finance, which most of us learn to like, with the other passion that many of us have, that is public policy. Combining this is in a way contributing to the greater good. If our shareholder is the European Union, they are expecting us to deliver on those society goals that I mentioned. And the contribution to the greater good goes, in a way, it's giving back to our countries, right? And I didn't find many institutions who would give us this opportunity. The good thing of the EIF, it's a relatively small institution compared to others, and it works almost it has a lot of this startup spirit. We get to know very easily many colleagues. The managers are quite engaging and give us a lot of support. So each individual obviously is part of a much bigger machine. But we know that our small contribution every day makes an overall impact, and we can see it. We can see the entrepreneurs that get financed somewhere in Europe, the people who have dreams and get these dreams funded because there was a program that some colleague developed out of Luxembourg. This reach is not always visible in many institutions, and here we really know the stories, we know the people we support, and that's great.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Miguel. What would be the most memorable event in your career at the EIF so far? What comes to your mind?
That was the first investment program that I raised in my home country. It was a really great experience, because I never thought, like Marjut was saying, I never thought to be here and to be in that position, and mostly so soon in my career. I remember when I joined as a graduate, we were meeting the team, so we had normal business development meetings to think where should we focus our activity this year. And because in Portugal, the private equity and venture capital activity was not so strong for a couple of years, and we didn't develop many initiatives there for about 10 years, I raised my hand and I said, what if we come up with this initiative, a venture capital program, significantly sizable, a large one. And my colleagues at the time, some of them got excited, but there were also some people skeptical about it, right? It's normal. I was the youngest member of the team. We didn't have much activity, much traction in that country. So some of them looked at me and, well, let's see what you can do. With the support of more senior members of the team, the great support of my managers who believed in me, I managed to create this opportunity. It's not really for EIF or for myself or for our team. At the end, I think 6 months later, the program was signed. It was on the ground. It selected venture capital teams. And right now, those teams already invested in 50 startups. So there are entrepreneurs that got funded because we had that idea at the time. And it was not only my job. It was not only my contribution. There was a full team working for this. And for a small country like the one I know best, a small initiative or an initiative like this makes a whole difference. The number of jobs that it creates, the talent that it retains or attracts. I think this was, and getting it signed and seeing it today, the results and the impact, that's probably the most memorable event.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really, really impressive. Thank you for sharing again. Now let's talk a bit about Luxembourg. So most of our audience today is probably not located in Luxembourg, but really all over Europe. So we would be very curious to hear, Miguel, what is your view on Luxembourg? How do you enjoy your life here in Luxembourg?
Well, Marjut said it. I also like it very much. There is this myth that Luxembourg is too small. That comes with huge advantages, which I'm more than happy to share from my private experience. And of course, many people might have different opinion. This is a personal one. Luxembourg, first of all, is a very international country. I think 50%, 60% of the people I meet, even beyond, they are foreigners. They are people who have arrived in Luxembourg in the last few years. They are in the same position. Basically, I feel that we were all on the same boat. They are eager to make connections, to beyond the business, create friends.
Yeah.
It's very easy to reach out to people because we are in the same situation, because we are all living in a country that is not ours, but that is very well prepared to receive these communities. It's not by chance that we are all here. The fact that we have European institutions in the city center and very close to the city center, by the way, it's so easy to get to the town hall and just to town and just get a drink and meet friends, and everything is reachable at 5-10 minutes distance. Public transportation is for free. This is a huge selling point. And European institutions create a bit of an environment that also makes it much easier to meet new people that are in similar circumstances. In terms of networking, it's a very smooth country. No one is really closing themselves, or there are no closed groups that we cannot access. There is one point that Luxembourg has that for me counts a lot. It's an extremely green country. There are many opportunities to do outdoor activities like going to a hike in the forest. It's really nature is really at the core of the country, and it's extremely well connected. It's very easy to, if you want to have a bit more of this excitement that you only find in 1 or 2 capitals in Europe, it's so easy to get to Paris or to get to Brussels, Frankfurt, London. I've benefited from that as well because I had friends, foreigners, that were expats in many of those cities, and probably being at the heart of Europe also helps a lot.
No, absolutely. Good. Thanks a lot, Miguel. I think we all kind of share more or less this experience of Luxembourg. As a last question, maybe in a few words, what would be your recommendation for our audience today who is considering to join this early career program?
Well, that's a big one. I think each one of us has a different career aspiration, and if I would summarize it in one word, is be authentic. Do speak up, share your ideas with your managers. Not all of our ideas will become successful. Obviously, some of them need a bit of work, but EIF is a very safe place for growth. It's an amazing environment for where you have space to speak up, to share your thoughts, and more importantly, even to learn. Sometimes even the not so successful projects, and I had many, were the best learning opportunities, at least to myself. And in EIF, you have the space to fail in a way without having any kind of pressure, because this startup spirit that I was mentioning before, it's very unique to the institution. There are not so many organizations that work at the same time with governments and with founders of startups, and we need to be a bit in the middle, right? So to apply, I fully recommend. I'm very happy with the fact that you are launching this program, and be yourselves. I think this is the best advice I can give.
Indeed, yeah, totally. Thanks again, Miguel. This was the last question. hopefully managed to tempt some of the audience to join us here in Luxembourg and join our program. Now, in this third part of the session, Anna and I will tell you a bit more details about the program and let you know how you can join our programs.
So you might have probably seen it on our LinkedIn, on our Instagram, if you are connected to us on the social media, and if you're not connected to us on social media, please do. We will be very happy to see you there. So in 2024, so this year, the EIF is celebrating its 30th anniversary, which is an amazing date for us. We are, I think, all very happy and very proud about this. And we would like to share with you just a few memorable figures of what we have managed to achieve so far during these 30 years of existence. So can you imagine that we, as EIF, have supported in 30 years 1 in 12 small businesses in Europe, which is, well, I think a very, very, very great and impressive number. In terms of euros of investment, that represents 137 billion of euros that the EIF has committed for financing the support of SMEs in Europe. What about the EIF today? A few figures. So we are around 700 staff members, 700 employees, with a gender balance that has reached 50-50, that we're also very proud of. And in October, we're planning to welcome 30 new joiners for our early career program. So now I will leave the floor to Mari, who will explain you a bit more about the program itself, and I'm sure you're very impatient to hear about it.
So now a few words about what we have designed for you. Hopefully you can see the slide. So we have designed a 3-year program. During these 3 years, you will have a chance to really discover EIF as a whole. You'll have a chance to rotate within different businesses within EIF, and potentially some of you may also have external rotation to one of the partner institutions in the private sector. Program starts on October 1st. This is when we expect 30 of you to come here to Luxembourg. We have designed a very interesting learning and training development program for you, because we want you to develop your skills. It will be relevant not only during your time here at EIF, but potentially throughout your career. Of course, we have an attractive compensation and benefits package that we are going to cover in a bit later in the next slides. And we have designed 4 different tracks or paths for this program. I'm going to speak about it in the next slide. Maybe just a final thing on this part is that I want to mention that upon the completion of these 3 years, after you finish all of your rotations, you will be eligible to apply to our permanent positions at the EIF. Okay. We can move now to the next slide. I just want to give you a few words about these 4 ECP tracks. So what have we prepared for you? I won't bore you with too many details. We already described a lot in the job description, and more of it is going to come on our external webpage. But just a few words about each of these tracks. So first one is science and data track. Now, this track is for all of you STEM enthusiasts in the audience. So if you have done your studies in the area of science, technology, engineering, maths, we want to hear from you. Some of you may know we are going through digital transformation here at EIF. We really want people who are young, passionate about digitalization, data, and also passionate about all those things that Miguel and Marjut were talking about. Secondly, being a financial institution, of course, we have a financial path for those of you who did your studies in economics and finance. This one is also well explained already. Legal and compliance track is there. This one is maybe a bit more intuitive, so I won't spend much time here. Just maybe last few words for the generalist track. So here we are looking for applications from you who did your studies in the area of marketing, communication, human resources, project, or change management. Finally, all of these tracks, they include these rotations that we mentioned. All of the conditions that we mentioned in the previous slide, they apply to each of these 4 tracks. I think this was it. We can.
Good. Let's now see a few important reminders. So all this is, of course, in the job description that you can very easily find on our career portal, and we will show you the link to it at the end of the presentation. So there are a few essential requirements that that you need to respect in order to be eligible to apply to the early career program. So first one is, of course, to have an EU nationality. The second one is to have a university degree. So that can be either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. In terms of years of experience, we will accept your application if you have less than 2 years of professional experience, and that is excluding any internships that you have done. The working language here at the EIF is English, so the requirement is to be fluent in English, and the knowledge of any other European language is, of course, considered as an asset. And finally, we expect you to be available for the whole length of the program, which is 3 years. Then what is important for us to see in a candidate? So Miguel and Mari have already mentioned some qualities that we will be looking for in a candidate that I won't repeat now. I would just add to that of course we're looking for very motivated candidates. We are looking for candidates who are, I think, as inspired as we are by our European mission, and who have a very strong interest in working in a European Union institution environment. We're also looking for candidates with analytical and problem solving mindset, who are already eager and very interested to learn new things, and there are so many things I think that you can learn at EIF, as Miguel has already mentioned to you guys, and of course we will be giving you all the support required for learning, as it was mentioned by Marijana already, and of course we're looking for proactive and very enthusiastic candidates who are not afraid to take initiatives and to make a first step in their career at EIF. Let's move to the next slide.
Mm-hmm. So now a few words about what we're going to offer to you. So you can expect a monthly gross compensation, monthly gross salary of 4,368 euros. Obviously, being an EU institution, you are not liable to pay national taxes. However, you are liable to pay the income tax to the European Union. Obviously, the final net amount is going to depend a bit on your personal circumstances. So to all the candidates who are going to receive the offer, we will be sharing the final, let's say, the net estimate. So don't worry about this. As most of you are all over Europe, we will be providing you also installation allowance to help you with your relocation here to settle here in Luxembourg. You will be covered by our health insurance. This health insurance is really great because it's covering you not only in Luxembourg, but also worldwide. We have then a very attractive pension scheme. Now, this may not be on top of your minds at this point in your life. However, it is a good investment for your future. We already mentioned a bit the training program that we have here in-house. We really want you to develop your soft skills, all the skills that you need to be successful in your career, of course. Something else I want to mention, of course, yes, it's the flexible teleworking arrangements that we have here at EIF. So you will have the chance to work a few days, some days from home here in Luxembourg, potentially some days from your home country, but depending, subject to the agreement with your manager. Other nice things that we have here, you are going to also have the access to subsidized sports activities and leisure activities that will give you also the chance to meet other people in a similar situation relative to Luxembourg. You are also going to have the access to the subsidized restaurants and cafeterias. For those of you who will be living in the Luxembourg city, you'll have a free use of the Luxembourg city bike services. As Miguel mentioned, it's not a big capital. You can cycle around and move around without the need of a car. And finally, but not the least important, you will have your paid annual leave. And I think this was it for this part.
Perfect. Let's now talk about our recruitment process. As I imagine, a lot of you have questions about how the recruitment process is going to look like for the ECP. First things first, a date to remember, to keep in mind. It's the 30th of April. It's the deadline for applications for our ECP. So keep in mind, 30th of April. In front of you on the QR code, if you scan the QR code, it leads you directly to our career portal, to the application page where you can directly apply to the ECP. So don't hesitate to scan it already. So as a first step for us is, of course, to screen your CV and your motivation letter. So here, please keep in mind that we are receiving a lot of applications for the program. So it's super important for you to write a nice and beautiful CV, a good motivation letter as well that reflects your real motivation and interest to join the EIF and to join the early career program at EIF. Also, we do not recommend you to use any artificial intelligence tools to do that, because we really want to hear from you. As Miguel said, we want you to be authentic, and we want to know who you are and what really motivates you to join the EIF today. So as a next step, there is the HR phone call that is optional. So we might call you because we need to clarify an aspect from your CV or about your diploma, or we have a question on motivation. So we may call you for that purpose. The next step in the recruitment process is the online assessment. So for that, you only need your laptop and a few minutes of calm at home in order to be able to perform the online assessment. The next step is the online interview. So everything so far, as you have seen, is taking place online. So super convenient for you guys. The online interview takes place with several colleagues from the EIF, including HR, where a few questions, so some questions will be explored with you, like motivational questions amongst others. And for the successful candidates, of course, the next and the last step is to receive the employment offer and to proceed to the onboarding in October, later this year. One important thing that you should also keep in mind is that we only accept applications through our official career portal. So we do not accept any spontaneous applications by email or from any other sources. Remember to scan the QR code that leads you to the career portal and apply directly there. Good. In the next slide, we're showing you once again the QR code that you can scan. So this time a bit in bigger. If we have convinced you with our webinar, with our interview with Miguel, to apply and to join our purpose at EIF. If we got you motivated and intrigued to join the program, don't hesitate to do so. Good. So we're slowly moving towards the end of the presentation, Mara.
Yep.
So
indeed, now it's time for your questions. Our colleague Inva will help us to moderate. Please use raise your hands button, and then Inva will call your name, and then you can ask your question. For those of you who are more comfortable with writing, that's also fine. You can use the chat box feature. We'll address those questions just a bit later.
Yeah, there are a few
Yeah.
already that we will give
Okay.
the floor to the people.
Perfect. Yeah, we will start then with,
Yes.
with those who want to actually speak to us.
Okay,
Perfect.
so
I think we have now reached, unfortunately, the end. We are already at 2 p.m. Thanks a lot for your time. We hope this was useful. If there are some very important questions that we did not manage to answer, you can contact us. You can reach out to us at ecp@eif.org. We will do our best to answer you as soon as possible. Thanks again for joining us today. Thanks, Miguel. Thanks, everyone. And we hope to see some of you here in Luxembourg in October.
thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you, and don't forget to send us an email if you have any questions indeed. Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.